Hi, Nana. Yeah. Now today we learn about the conditions for forming uh, ionic bond. Conditions for the formation of ionic bond. That means what are the favorable conditions? The favorable conditions for the formation of ionic bond. So mainly three conditions are necessary for the formation of ionic bond. What are they? First one, the number of valency electrons. Number of valency electrons. Okay. Number of valency electrons. Difference in electronegativity. And third one, overall decrease in energy. Overall decrease in energy. So these are the main three main conditions, so which are necessary and which favor the formation of ionic bond. So we will learn all these things in depth. So first of all, the number of valency electrons. See what type of atoms will participate in ionic bond. The atoms whose the number of valence electrons are either the number of valence electrons are either 1 or 2 or 3. The atoms which contain valence electron 1 or 2 or 3, they participate in ionic bond formation, or else the atoms which contains valence electrons are 6 or 7, so valence electrons, so these atoms will participate in ionic bond formation. So 1, 2 or 3, so which elements are these? They are first A group elements, second A group elements and third A group elements. Here sixth A group elements and seventh A group elements. So between these two elements and between these types of elements, they only ionic bond will form. See here, these elements, these elements first A, second A and third A group elements, they have valency electrons 1 or 2 or 3. They form cations. Okay, they can form cations by losing electrons. By losing electrons. Here these elements, 6th A and 7th A group elements, they form anions by gaining electrons. And here, so these elements are what? Metals. The atoms which forms cations are metals, and the atoms which forms anions are non-metals. That means ionic bond takes place between metal and non-metal. Okay, so actually ionic bond, for the formation of ionic bond, both type of ions are required. One is cation and another one is anion. So both cation and anion are required. So cation is formed by metals, anion is formed by non-metals. Okay, so that means the elements which contain, so these number of valence electrons and these number of valence electrons only will involve in ionic bond formation. Okay, that means ionic bond formation takes place between first A, sixth A, between first A and sixth A, or first A and seventh A, or between second A and sixth A, or second A and seventh A, or between third A and sixth A, or between third A and seventh A elements, ionic bond formation takes place. So here, so this is, this is related to number of valence electrons, and even transition metals also will form ionic compounds, ionic bonds, because transitional metals, even transitional metals also, because they lose electrons, they form cations, therefore form ionic bonds, they also form ionic bonds. Okay, so first A group, second A group, third A group elements, and even transition metals also, they form cations and they form ionic bond. But here the thing is that, so these cations, the cation formed from first A, second and third A group elements, okay, these cations have inert gas configuration. That means these cations have NH2 NP6 configuration, whereas the cation which are formed from transition metals, see, mostly only very few of them will get inert gas configuration. So these are of again two types: atoms with inert gas configuration, so ions, cations with inert gas configuration, and cations with pseudo inert gas configuration. Inert gas configuration means NH2 NP6 in their valence shell. Pseudo inert gas configuration means NH2 NP6 ND10. So after losing electrons, if an atom possesses 18 electrons in the valence shell, if the cation possesses, then that configuration is said to be pseudo inert gas configuration. Okay, so transitional metals, they form both type of cations. Either some of the transition metals, they form inert gas configuration, and some of the other transition metals, they form cations with the pseudo inert gas configuration. So in this way, so the number of valence electrons are responsible for the formation of ionic bond. So the valence electrons should be, for the formation of cations, the valence electrons should be these only, either 1 or 2 or 3 valence electrons only must. And for the formation of ions, so the atom should contain 6 or 7 valence electrons only. Only under these conditions the cation and anion formation takes place. Okay, so this is about the condition for the number of valence electrons. Okay, this is a condition about the number of valence electrons. That means ionic bond takes place when cation and anion are formed. When does cation is formed? When cation is formed, that means the cation is formed when the valence electrons are 1 or 2 or 3, and the anion is formed when the valence electrons are 6 or 7. So like that. So this is one of the condition, first condition. Now let us learn about the second condition. What is the second condition? Condition number 2. Difference in electronegativity. Electronegativity difference. Electronegativity difference. Electronegativity difference. Generally it is denoted with delta En. Delta means a difference. Electronegativity. See, if the electronegativity difference is high, then ionic bond formation is easy. Easily ionic bond is formed between the atoms. Example, NaCl. So what is the electronegativity difference between sodium and chlorine? So here its electronegativity is 0.9 and its electronegativity is 3.1. Okay. So what is the difference in electronegativity? So here these are the electronegativity values. The difference in electronegativity is equal to 3.5 minus 0.9. So it is how much around? 3.5 minus 0.9. 56. 2.6. It is equal to 2.6. So there is a large difference between the electronegativity. Electronegativity difference between the two atoms should be high. If the electronegativity difference between the two atoms is high, then ionic bond formation is easy. Generally, if the electronegativity difference, if it is greater than 1.7, this is important. Electronegativity difference between the two atoms, two participating atoms. Delta En means electronegativity difference. Difference between the electronegativity of those two atoms we have to consider. For example, in NaCl, the electronegativity difference between the sodium and chlorine we have to consider. Okay. So if the electronegativity difference is greater than 1.7, then it favors ionic bond. It favors ionic bond formation. It favors ionic bond formation. So that means electronegativity difference also plays a major role. If the electronegativity difference is less than 1.7, then the bond formed is not ionic. Okay, so that is the important thing. So electronegativity difference between the participating atoms should be minimum 1.7. So if it is greater than 1.7 or equal to 1.7, okay, at least it should be equal to about 1.7. Then only, or else it should be greater than 1.7. Then only ionic bond will form. So this is necessary. That means electronegativity difference above 1.7 is necessary. Is necessary for the formation of ionic bond between the two atoms. What is electronegativity difference? That means difference in the electronegativity values of those two atoms, non-metal and metal. Generally, non-metal will possess more electronegativity and metal will possess less electronegativity. And the difference between them should be minimum, it should be greater than 1.7. So that is the necessary condition for the formation of ionic bond. Okay, so one should be metal and another one should be non-metal, and the difference between the electronegativity should also be, it should be greater than 1.7. So these are the, when these conditions are met, then ionic bond formation takes place. So if the electronegativity difference is very high, then formation of ionic bond will be very easy. Okay, so the magnitude of electronegativity difference, the magnitude of electronegativity difference will imply or else will give the ease of formation of ionic bond. If the magnitude of, if the value of electronegativity difference is high, then the ease of formation of ionic bond will be fastly. It will be easier. So like that, the difference in electronegativity, it is also one of the condition that favors the ionic bond formation. So the difference should be greater than 1.7. Only under those conditions the ionic bond formation takes place. Now the third condition is overall decrease in energy. Third condition is overall decrease in energy. The third condition is overall decrease in energy. Decrease in energy. Overall decrease in energy. Okay. Look here. In the formation of ionic bond, there must be overall decrease in energy. Energy must be released. That means overall decrease in energy means, what is the meaning of that one? Decrease in energy means energy must be released. There should be release of energy. Okay, so actually in the formation of ionic bond formation involves its formation, ionic bond formation involves mainly three energy changes. So at three steps, that means at three steps the change in energy is involved. Example, in the formation of NaCl, first sodium atom should lose one electron and become Na plus. So here from sodium atom one electron is removed, so it requires energy. Energy is utilized. That means we have to supply energy to the atom. Atom is taking energy, hence it is endoergic. Okay, so that means here ionization energy is needed. So it is positive. That means the energy involved is called as ionization energy. Okay, so here sodium ion, formation of sodium ion, if the ionization energy is less, then the sodium ion formation will be easy. If ionization energy is more, that means if an atom requires more energy to take out that electron, then in that case the formation of ionic bond is not easy. Okay, that means if the value of ionization energy, if it is less, then formation of ionic bond becomes easy because less energy is involved in it. That means, so by supplying less energy only, if if the atom can lose its electron and form cation, then in that condition, so ion can be formed easily. Suppose if an atom requires more energy, then in that case we have to supply more energy to take out that electron. In that case, the formation of ionic bond, it is somewhat difficult, because that much amount of energy it is not so easy to supply to that atom, so that electron can be removed from that atom. In general, so we can learn like this: if ionization energy is low, formation of ionic bond becomes easy. If ionization energy is low, formation of ionic bond becomes easy. So here that means ionization energy, it is an exothermic it is an endothermic process. It is endoergic process. Endoergic. What is the meaning of endoergic process? That means energy is required by the atom. Energy is supplied to the atom. Suppose this is the atom. Okay, this is the electron. So now we are supplying energy. Why we are supplying energy? In order to take out this electron from the, take away from this electron from the atom. In order to take out this electron from the atom, because this electron is under the force of attraction of the nucleus. So to break the force of attraction between the nucleus and this electron, we have to supply some energy to that atom, so that that electron can be freed from the atom. That means it is an endoergic process. Endo means giving, energy is supplied into the system. Suppose this is system and energy is supplied to the system, so then it is said to be endo. Ergic means energy. Ergic means energy. Energy is supplied into the system. So the process of supplying of energy to the system is said to be endoergic process. Okay, so this is one type of energy change. So three types of energy changes are involved. Three energy changes are involved in the formation of ionic bond. So this is one. And next one, see, actually look here, for the formation of NaCl, so we require sodium ion and chloride ion. We require sodium ion and chloride ion. Okay, sodium ion and chloride ion we require. So here actually sodium ion and chloride ion are not directly, they do not occur in the nature. So first that sodium should be converted into sodium ion and chlorine should be converted into chloride ion. That means chlorine atom should be converted into chloride ion. Here what is happening? So we are supplying, we are adding electron to this chlorine. When an electron is added to an atom, what happens? Suppose if an electron is added to an atom, here if you want to add an electron to an atom, what happens? Some energy is released, because this added electron, if you add this electron to the atom, what happens? Then this electron, there develops force of attraction between the added electron. So newly force of attraction is developed between the added electron and the nucleus. So whenever the force of attraction is developed, there will be release of energy. So that means energy releasing process. If you take out an electron from an atom, then it is an energy absorbing process. If you want to take out an electron from an atom, it is an energy absorbing process. It's a energy absorbing process. But if you want to supply an electron to an atom, then it is an energy releasing process. Okay, so here what is happening? Some energy is released, and the released energy is said to be electron affinity. Electron affinity. Okay, so electron affinity is negative energy. Why it is called as negative energy? Because atom is losing energy. Losing energy, that means energy is removed from the atom. Energy is removed from the atom. Hence, electron affinity is said to be negative energy. See, actually, the condition, third condition is there should be decrease in energy. Energy must be released. Here, in one process, energy is added to the atom. Energy is supplied to the atom, that is called as ionization energy. And in the second step, energy is released by the atom. So this is sodium atom and this is chlorine atom. So these two are different atoms. So energy is supplied to sodium atom. So this is one case and this is another case. Atoms involved are different. So in this case, this is sodium atom or else any atom. So here, to take out this electron, so energy is should be supplied. Energy should be supplied to the atom. So what happens here? We have to supply energy. We have to supply energy to the atom. To take out that electron, we have to supply energy to the atom from sodium atom. But here in chlorine atom, energy is released. Here we are giving electron to the atom and energy is released from the atom. So it is exoergic process. It is exoergic process. Exoergic process. What is exo? Exo means exit. That means to lose. Energy is lost by the atom. Energy is given out by the atom. Okay. Ergic means energy given out. Process. The process of given out means losing of energy or else release of energy. The process of releasing of energy from a system. Here the system means simply we will consider as an atom. We will consider atom as a system. So now here atom is releasing energy or else losing energy. Hence it is exoergic process. So here also energy is involved. In this process energy is involved. So in these two processes energy is involved. So in one process energy is taken by the atom. In another process energy is released by the atom. So that means during electron affinity, that means when an electron is added to an atom, energy is released, and during ionization energy, energy is supplied to the atom. And third case. So we'll discuss about the third case. I'm rubbing it off. So third case of energy involvement, that means third step of energy involvement. In the third step, see here, so this is ionization energy, this is called as ionization energy, and this is called as electron affinity. So these two energies are involved in the formation of cation, and this is involved in the formation of anion. Okay, because an electron is supplied to the atom, electron is removed from the atom. Now let us consider the third step. In the third step, what happens? See, look here. So after formation of Na plus and Cl minus, what happens? See, these two atoms, after formation of Na and after formation of Cl minus, what happens? There will be force of attraction between this one and this one. See this ion, I am writing at the center. So this Na plus ion, as it is a charged particle, what happened? It will extend its field, electric field to certain distance. That means this up to this distance, the charge of sodium is felt. The charge of sodium is felt up to this distance, and even towards the front also. Suppose this is a sodium atom. So here the charge is felt throughout its surface. Okay, in three dimensionally. So it shows its effect. Okay, right. Suppose if a chlorine atom if a chlorine ion comes into its field, so this is called as electric field of sodium. If chloride ion enters into the field of sodium, what happens? So these two are attracted to each other, and a bond is formed. Ionic bond is formed. Force of attraction is developed, and ionic bond is formed. And there are so many chloride ions which are formed at the same time. So even other chloride ion also will enter into the field of this sodium, and here also in this direction also sodium will form ionic bond. So in this direction also, so that means sodium will exhibit force of attraction throughout its entire surface. So towards left side, towards right side, upward, downward, even front also, because this is a three-dimensional structure. So if it is sodium ion, so it will it develops its field. It develops its field throughout its surface. So one chlorine, another chlorine, another chlorine, another chlorine, another chlorine, another chlorine. Even from the back side also one chlorine. So that means, so how many chlorine ions that are surrounded by sodium ion? 6 chlorine ions. One is from left side, one is from right side, one is from up, one is from down, one is from front, and another one is from back side. So like this, every sodium is surrounded by 6 chloride ions. Okay, right. So here in this way, a packing of ions takes place. Every sodium ion is surrounded by chloride ion, and now every chloride ion is surrounded by sodium ions, because even chloride ion also will show its electric field. Any charged particle will show its electric field throughout its surface. Suppose if sodium ion comes into if the electric field of sodium ion comes into electric field of sodium chloride ion, what happens? So force of attraction develops between sodium ion and chloride ion. So here also, so if the electric field of sodium ion comes under the electric field of chloride ion, again force of attraction develops. So in the same way, this side also, what happens? Force of attraction develops. Okay, so this side, this side, this side, this side, and even front and back also. So how many? Every chloride ion, Cl minus ion, every chloride ion is surrounded by 6 sodium ions, and every sodium ion is surrounded by 6 chloride ions. So one is this side, another one is this side. Again this chloride ion, again it is surrounded by 6 sodium ions. One this side, this side, this side, this side, and front one sodium ion, back another sodium ion. See, I cannot draw sodium ion which is present towards the front. I cannot draw on the board. Simply assume. We have to assume that it is a three-dimensional structure. Three-dimensional structure means it contains x-axis, y-axis. Three-dimensional structure means x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So x-axis means in this and in this direction. Okay. Y-axis means up and down. Z-axis means back side and front side. Okay. So this is back side and this is front side. Suppose if it is sodium ion, so one chloride ion is present here, one chloride ion is present here, and one chloride ion is present here, one chloride ion is present here, and front, towards the front. So I cannot draw like this. I cannot because I cannot project front on the board. I cannot write. So instead of writing like this, so assume that this is towards the front and this is towards the back. That means here one chloride ion, back another chloride ion. So here, as sodium is showing its electric field throughout its surface, so all the 6 chloride ions are attracted by this sodium ion. So in this way, what happens? So it forms a crystal-like structure. It forms a crystal-like structure, and this is called as crystal or crystal lattice. crystal or crystal lattice. Okay, so crystal or crystal lattice, right? Now look here. So there is force of attraction. Sodium, it is showing force of attraction on this chlorine, this chlorine, this chlorine, and this chlorine, and even the chlorine which is present in the front side and even at the back side. So throughout its entire surface, it is showing force of attraction. So here, what is happening? So there is increased in large amount of force of attraction. Here, what is happening? Clustering of ions is taking place. Clustering means grouping of ions is taking place. So cluster means group. All the ions, they form a group. So as clustering of ion is taking place, what happened? It increases the force of attraction. It increases the force of attraction. Here force of attraction is there. Here force of attraction. Here force of attraction. Here force of attraction. Towards the front chlorine, force of attraction. Towards the back chlorine, force of. So there is an increase in force of attraction. Whenever there is an increase in force of attraction, already we learned that force of attraction, when force of attraction is developed, there will be loss of energy. So here for the development of this force of attraction, there is loss of energy. For development of this force of attraction, there is loss of energy. Here also loss of energy, here also loss of energy. So like this, sodium, it is forming force of attraction throughout its surface with other chlorine atoms. Therefore, what is happening? So there will be loss of large amount of energy, potential energy, it loses. Okay, it loses potential energy. That means potential energy of the system is released. That means there is a decrease in overall decrease in energy. So this is third step. So this is a third step. What is third step? Third step is related to what? Lattice energy. Third step is called as lattice energy. What is lattice energy? Now we are going to learn. So first, before learning lattice energy, we have to know what is crystal lattice. Crystal lattice means group of oppositely charged ions. They cluster or else they group together or else they bind together. So in a systematic order, one positive ion, it is surrounded by negative ions, and this negative ion, it is again surrounded by positive ions. Okay, and again this positive ion is surrounded by negative ions, and this negative ion again it is surrounded by positive ions, and this positive ion is again surrounded by negative ions, and this negative ion is again surrounded by positive ions. So in this way, so here what happens? There will be extension. So this chloride ion towards this chloride ion in this direction, sodium ion is added. To this sodium ion, chloride ion is added. To this chloride ion, sodium ion is added. So in this direction, so there will be extension. There will be extension of the link. Here also there will be extension of link. Chloride ion, it is connected to sodium ion. Sodium ion is connected to the chloride ion. Again sodium ion, again chloride ion, and so on. And here also chloride ion is connected to sodium, and this sodium is connected to chloride, and that chloride ion again sodium, chloride, sodium, like that. Here sodium, chloride, sodium, chloride, sodium, chloride. So like this, what happens? It forms an extended three-dimensionally. So that means along x-axis. So this is an extended structure, and even along y-axis, and even z-axis also. Because so here chlorine is there. In the front of chlorine you will find sodium, and in the front of sodium you will find chlorine, and in the front of chlorine again sodium, again chlorine, again sodium, again chlorine. So like this. So in this direction, so this structure, the crystal is the crystal is developed in this direction, and even back direction also. That means along x-axis, along y-axis, and along z-axis, what is happening? So the crystal is growing. Ions are getting added. So hence it is said to be three-dimensionally extended structure. A crystal is always three-dimensionally extended structure, extended three-dimensionally extended structure. Crystal is also called as crystal lattice, is a three-dimensionally extended structure. Along x-axis, the extension keeps on, and along y-axis the extension keeps on, and even along the z-axis also the extension keeps on going. Okay, so as a result of this one, what is happening? Every sodium ion, it is forming so many bonds with so many chloride ions. So here what is happening? So force of attraction is it is go on increasing. So the force of attraction is go on increasing. So whenever the force of attraction is go on increasing, what is happening? The loss of energy will continuously takes place. So there will be continuous loss of energy. Okay, that means there will be continuous release of energy. So as the crystal is growing, in its length or else width or else size, with the growth of crystal size, the release of energy will increase. There will be loss of energy by that system or else by that crystal. Okay, so the released energy is said to be lattice energy. So the energy released during the formation of crystal lattice, now all the ions will cluster with each other, so they form a crystal lattice. Okay, so during that process, force of attraction is developed between one ion and other ion. So there are so many hundreds of ions are there. Okay, between all ions there will be force of attraction, newly developed force of attraction. So whenever the force of attraction is developed, there will be loss of energy. So that means during the formation of crystal there will be loss of energy. So much energy is lost, and the energy which is lost during this process, the energy which is released during this process is said to be lattice energy. Okay, so that is called as lattice energy, right? What is I am defining lattice energy. Lattice energy is nothing but the energy released during the formation of see, I am removing it. During the formation of 1 mole of an ionic compound. 1 mole of ionic compound. Look here, in ionic compounds how the atoms are arranged. Whatever the ionic compound, if you take, simply what happens, first of all, cation, it is surrounded by so many anions. Every ionic compound possesses this type of structure, and again this anion, it is surrounded by cations, and this anion is surrounded by cations, and this cation is surrounded by anion, and this cation is surrounded by anion, and this anion is surrounded by cations. So like this, so three-dimensionally extended structure takes place. Okay, so during the formation of 1 mole of ionic compound, what is the meaning of 1 mole of ionic compound? Okay, what is the meaning of 1 mole of ionic compound? 1 mole of ionic compound means here NaCl. Suppose if you take NaCl as single thing, so here 1 mole means 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23 sodium ions and chloride ions. So these many sodium ions, okay, these many chloride ions. So these many sodium ions and these many chloride ions, if they combine with each other, so like this, in this fashion, that means alternately arranged, cation, anion, cation, and it is alternated with anion, again cation, and again anion, again cation, again anion. So like this. So there is alternate arrangement of cation and anion, and that too in a systematic order. Systematic order, orderly arranged cations and anions will form a crystal-like structure. Okay. So during the formation of that crystal-like structure, so energy is released. Okay. So there will be small size crystals, large size crystals, even very large size crystals also. So in that case, so for the formation of small size crystal, less amount of energy is released. For the large crystal, during the formation of large crystal, large amount of energy is released. So on what basis we will measure how much amount of energy is released and what is lattice energy? So in that case, so in order to avoid such confusions, simply we lattice energy is calculated for 1 mole of ionic compound. 1 mole of ionic compound means 1 mole of cations and 1 mole of anions. Okay, so 1 mole of cations and 1 mole of anions when they combine to form to form certain amount of compound, certain crystals, and during that process some amount of energy is released, and the released energy, and that energy is said to be lattice energy. The energy released during the formation of 1 mole of ionic compound, okay, from its ions. Actually, ions are in gaseous state. Already we learned that gaseous state, ionization energy. What is ionization energy? The amount of energy required to remove an electron from the gaseous, neutral, isolated atom. What is electron affinity? The amount of energy released when an electron is added to a gaseous, neutral, isolated atom. So here the ions which are formed, actually they are in gaseous form. So the gaseous ion, the gaseous sodium ion and the gaseous chloride ion, so they combine during the when they combine, what happens? The distance between them decreases. Now they form solids. So now it is in solid form, but the combining ions are in gaseous form. So the gaseous ions will combine. Okay, during that process, during the conversion of gases into solid, what happens? Large amount of energy is released. During the change of state, what happens? Energy released or else energy absorption takes place. So when gas is converted into solid, there will be release of energy. So, like this. So in this case, the released energy is said to be lattice energy. So lattice energy is nothing but the energy released during the formation of 1 mole of ionic compound from its ions. See, initially sodium atom, chlorine atoms are there. So here for the formation of sodium to Na plus, some energy is released, and that is some energy is required, that is called as ionization energy. So this is the first step, and from chlorine atom to chloride ion, formation of chlorine atom into chloride ion. So here energy is involved, energy is absorbed, energy is released. Here energy is absorbed, energy is released. So this is the second step, and the third step is lattice energy. So after the formation of these ions, what happens? They cluster, they group. So many ions, 1 mole of so many ions will combine to form a crystal. So how much amount of crystal? 1 mole of ionic crystal is formed. So for the formation of 1 mole of ionic crystal, some amount of energy is released during that process. So the released energy is said to be lattice energy. So that means this is the third one. So here what is happening? This is required energy, this is released energy, and this is released energy. Okay. Remember. So now third. The third condition is what? What is the third condition? Third condition is there should be overall decrease of energy. There should be overall decrease in energy. There should be overall decrease in energy. So that means here what is happening? See, ionization energy, it is energy added to the atom. Electron affinity, energy released by the atom, energy is lost by the atom, and lattice energy. Lattice energy is also released energy. So simply add the released energy. So these two are released energies, and this is what? Absorbed energy. Okay, it is. What is this one? These two are energy releasing process, and this one is energy absorbing process. So the sum, if you take the sum of these two, if it is greater than ionized energy, released energy, if it is greater than absorbed energy, then only ionic bond will form. That means released energy, if it is greater than absorbed energy, what is released energy? So energy is released in two processes. During electron affinity, energy is released, and even during lattice energy also energy is released. So these two are energy releasing process, and this is energy absorbing process. So we have to add the energy releasing processes, and the sum of the energy releasing process will give the released energy, and this is absorbed energy. So if the released energy is, if the sum of these two is greater than this one, if the sum of electron affinity and lattice energy is greater than ionized energy, then only what happens? Released energy will be greater than absorbed energy. So in that condition only under this condition only, what happens? There will be overall decrease in energy takes place. Okay, so in here, so actually the third condition for formation of ionic bond is there should be overall decrease in energy. So in order to meet this condition, so the released energy should be greater than absorbed energy. Okay, so how do you know, how do you calculate released energy? So energy is released in the two processes, in the two steps. One is during electron affinity, and another one is during the lattice energy. So these two steps are energy releasing steps, and this is energy absorbing step. So the energy releasing steps, if you add, then finally you will get overall released energy. Okay, and this is at only one step energy is absorbed, and if the overall released energy is greater than the absorbed energy, then only there will be overall decrease in energy takes place. Otherwise there won't be overall decrease in energy. So if there is overall decrease in energy, only under this condition only ionic bond will form. Otherwise, if there is no overall decrease in energy, ionic bond does not takes place. So that is a condition. Third condition for a formation of ionic bond is there should be overall decrease in energy. Okay, so overall decrease in energy means released energy should be greater than absorbed energy. Only under these conditions only there will be overall decrease in energy takes place. So where does, in which steps there will be release in energy? So release in energy takes place at two stages. One is during electron affinity, and another one is during lattice energy. So in these two processes energy is released. So all the energy releasing processes we have to add, then only we will get the overall released energy. Okay, now there is only one step which involves absorption of energy. So ionized energy, it involves absorption of energy. Here lattice energy, it involves release of energy. Electron affinity, it involves release of energy. So these two are energy releasing processes, and this is energy absorbing process. So here the sum of these two should be greater than this one. Okay, the sum of these two, that means electron affinity plus lattice energy, the sum of these two, if it is greater than ionized energy, then only there will be this condition is met. What is that condition? Released energy will be greater than absorbed energy. If this condition is met, then only there will be overall decrease in energy. Okay, if this condition is met, Okay, right. So if this condition is met, only ionic bond takes place, otherwise ionic bond does not take place. So for the formation of ionic bond, there should be overall decrease in energy. For overall decrease in energy, so there should the released energy should be greater than absorbed energy. So how do you get released energy? So released energy we can find by adding the electron affinity and lattice energy, because these two are only the energy releasing processes and this is energy absorbed process. So during the ionic bond, so compulsory, so this takes place during the cation formation, this takes place during the anion formation, and this takes place during the formation of compound. Okay, that means during ionic bond, that means during the formation of ionic compound, so 3 steps are involved. So first step, second step and third step. If these two are energy releasing process, this is energy absorbed process. So energy releasing process we have to add. So if you add these two, you will get released energy, and this one should be subtracted from this. Okay, so then there only then overall will be that means there will be overall decrease in energy. Suppose if you add these three, what happens? If you add ionization energy plus electron affinity plus lattice energy, if you add these three, for example I am saying, so here if it is 20 units, let us assume 20 units of energy, here it is 30 units of energy,